Bodie Show. Living on the water is the only life we know. Yo ho ho ho. It's time for the Bodie Show.
Stephanie, you are so sick. And
I am.
you have the chronic.
I have the plague.
The college chronic. Your student came home from the germ circus.
The show must go on.
The show must go on, at least for a few minutes for you.
Leo gave this sickness to you, Steph?
Mm-hmm. Leo was sick all last week, and I was faithfully taking care of him and thinking to myself, I really hope I don't get sick.
And then wham.
And then I did. But here we are.
We're going to wish you well, all the listeners and I and Missy. We're going to wish you well and wish you good, speedy recovery.
Good healing vibes for you, Steph.
Good healing vibes, because
thank you.
We had
it was also a really beautiful weekend that I should have been on the water all weekend, and there were lots of fun people here I wanted to see, and so it was hard. It was a lot less boaty than it should have been.
There were grand plans for it to be wicked boaty.
Yeah.
Well,
there were.
There will be a lot of boaty to come. All right, feel better. We're gonna give you a round of applause for being so sick. And like a little outro just for you. All right, feel better. Poor Steph, that's a bummer. Yeah. Because Stephanie's so sick, I am joined by my lovely wife, Melissa, Missy, who is a bit of an enigma. You're like, people want to know more about you than they do.
Well, for now, all they need to know is that I am the inadequate substitute for the fabulous Stephanie.
Fabulous Stephanie Weiss. And you're maybe coming down with something. I cannot get sick because I'm going down to Sarasota, Florida next Wednesday night. Actually, today's Sunday. We're recording on Sunday. So I'll be leaving the evening of the day that this drops for Sarasota, Florida, coaching a boat at U.S. Rowing Youth Nationals on a made-for rowing lake. So
that's super cool.
Yeah, it's like a big rectangular lake that got dug out of Florida, just I guess east of Sarasota, and it's all set up so that you can just run a bunch of races there. And I've heard great things about it, that it's a really nice course. Like
the one MJ rows on in Georgia when they go down when Colby goes down for their spring break trip.
Yeah, and that was built for the Olympics. This one may have been built for Olympics. I don't know. I haven't retained that information. But I know the one that MJ rows on in Georgia was built for the Olympics that were held in Atlanta. Was that 96?
Yes, it was. That was the year that Lance Armstrong came on the scene in the Olympics for his bike riding.
Yeah, very cool. So that is why Missy's here. But you've joined us for lots of other
I'm often
shows.
Here. I just don't usually participate.
You're not a co-host. You're often a spouse with supporting cast responsibilities on the Bodie Show. And anybody who's gotten a sticker for winning Boat of the Week or any of the other various reasons that we make up for sending people stickers, you've gotten a handwritten note from the lovely Melissa.
Signed Jeff and Steph.
Yeah. I think you should start perfuming those.
That's weird. It's just weird.
I think you should, though. I don't know.
I don't even use perfume on myself.
Well, I know, but maybe you could use it on the envelope. You know, that's the thing that people used to do. Back
Is there a Bodie smell? Because I don't want it to smell like Chanel No. 5 or whatever. That makes no sense. It should be
that's pretty Bodie. Chanel
nautical.
No. 5. I think Chanel No. 5 is something that people wore on the transatlantic freight, not freighters.
You don't know that.
Liners. Yeah, that's an old school scent, right?
Well, I don't have that either.
All right. There. Once upon a time, Missy told me when she was reading just back to back
50 Shades.
50 Shades and Outlander. No, it was Outlander, wasn't it?
It might have been.
Yeah, you're reading Outlander, and there was description after description of the scent of. What's guy's name?
Jamie.
Oh, God. So there was description after description of Jamie's scent. And Missy was she had this frown on her face for a while. She's reading this book, frown, and she's looking at me with a frown on her face. And I'm, of course, feeling inadequate because I'm not bearded like Jamie in a kilt, traveling in time. I don't know what this guy does. Definitely not that. I'm bearded. I'd be happy to wear a kilt. I don't sounds pretty refreshing to me. And eventually I'm why? What's wrong? She's you don't have a scent.
Okay.
You said that.
Okay. What I was trying to say was you don't have a recognizable scent to me. It's not like I'm near you and I smell you and I'm like, oh, that smells like Jeff. I wanted you to have a signature scent that, because in all those hot books, it's like that's what turns the lady on is the scent.
Don't get me wrong, I'm all
of the
for
man.
it. I'm all for it. I'm all for having a scent that turns you on.
Then I tried to find one. I tried to make one. That was when I was all into the essential oils, and I was like, I'm gonna mix like sandalwood with like pine, and that's gonna be your scent. And you were like, yeah, okay.
No, you gave it to me, and then I was wearing it, but it didn't get you horned up. It was I just smelled like sandalwood and pine and whatever else you put in there, and there was nothing else. It was
cypress. I think it was cypress, sandalwood and cypress.
I'm like all waiting for your bosom to start heaving. And for, you get all, verklempt. And
all right, we're going way off here.
Are we? I don't know. I think people are probably having a good time listening to this. The punchline to this is that our friend Andy, the vice president, the vice president of fake advertising, heard this story and thought it was so funny and really felt for you, Missy.
Yeah.
And he made me a scent. He made it out of
bacon and dirt.
No, he got bacon grease and some two-stroke engine oil, and I think he put some
campfire somehow.
He put some like ash, like scrape some charcoal off of a burnt log.
It was coming from a place of love.
And he mixed it all up and he gave it to me, and I put it on, and I smelled kind of like I smell at times when I'm doing my stuff, my Jeff stuff, right? Didn't it?
It did.
So he sort of nailed it.
Good job, Andy Mullen.
Good job, Andy Mullen. Thank you so much. Andy, I don't know if you're listening. This is the end of the school year. Andy's a guidance counselor, school psychologist. And it gets to this point of the year, and all Andy wants to do is move to Canada and be a disgruntled postal worker in the Canadian like federal system. Not in the sense of like...
No, he wants to go hide on his island.
Yeah.
And cut down trees and make paths and build stuff.
Yeah, he's done with
talking to anyone
about their problems. That's probably why we haven't gotten a fake advertising submission from him. We did get a couple that were
questionable.
No, there wasn't no question about them. One of them was like very, very inappropriate. And the other was borderline inappropriate, as the best fake ads are.
Moving on.
So we got a couple of retractions, corrections, and an apology.
Oh, yeah. That sounds serious.
Yeah. A correction first. During the Manhattan circumnavigation of Manhattan live travelogue, I mentioned that the Empire State, a big ship we were passing, was the prison barge for Rikers Island. That is not correct. Empire State is the training ship for SUNY Maritime Academy. And we thought we were passing the prison barge. Turns out it was a big ship, but we were not yet at Rikers. And when we passed Rikers, you heard a description of it. It's a pretty sad craft.
But when we saw the prison ship, it was pretty insane looking.
Yeah.
It was like a big cement ship. Like, how does it even float?
Big flat blue barge. And then it looked like shipping containers had been stacked and welded together on top of the thing. I don't think that was actually how it was constructed, but it had that appearance.
It was really something to see. Like, it evoked a lot of emotion. You're like, oh my God, it's a prison ship. Like, people are like imprisoned there.
Yeah, it was apocalyptic looking. It looked scary. There were tiny little square windows that were opaque in many ways. I don't know why. If maybe they were painted over with some translucent paint or something.
Rikers looked pretty sinister too.
Yeah,
Rikers
was really sinister too. It was just sad looking, and just like this, all of the people just locked up there. And I've read some news about Rikers that's super overcrowded and it's got a lot of problems.
Well, that's the story of all our prisons, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And we were on a boat having like the time of our lives, like going by, just like checking shit out.
It gave me vibes of how depressed I got when we toured Alcatraz.
You did?
Yeah.
I mean, I know we toured Alcatraz, but I don't remember you being depressed about it.
I remember we did the audio tour and we had the headphones on. And if anybody goes to San Francisco,
yeah, it's a cool tour.
Yeah, it's really remarkable. And we're standing in the cafeteria, and the audio tour, prompts you to hit next as you progress through the prison.
I was just thinking, you're there.
We're there.
You're looking out at San Francisco Bay.
You're looking out San Francisco Bay. You're looking across the water at San Francisco. And they had interviews with former inmates who were alive, may still be alive, but were able to recall what it was like being in Alcatraz, being in that cafeteria. And one of the guys was talking. He's like, yeah, in the summer, if the wind was right, you'd hear music and women laughing from across the water. And it was just the saddest thing ever. And I'm not excusing criminal behavior. And I do think that incarceration is appropriate, but also, like, I don't know how well it works. Is it the best of all the bad options? And we have a really good friend, Max, who started and continues to operate the Bard Prison Initiative at a federal prison in the Hudson Valley. And there's a Ken Burns documentary about the Bard Prison Initiative that is really good. And if you have a chance, anybody listening, you should check it out because it just shows you, both the, ultimately irredeemable nature of some people, but like very, very few people. And the fact that given opportunity in prison, people will really work to be their whole selves. And I don't know, just like looking at a prison barge and thinking about all the people just like warehoused in there.
I need to add something light.
Yeah.
Since you're taking it heavy.
Sorry. Thank you.
So we're watching the Prison Bard Initiative documentary that Ken Burns did. Highly recommend if you haven't seen it.
Bard Prison Initiative. Yep.
Bard. What did I say?
Prison Bard.
Okay, whatever. and our kids were there, and Max Kenner actually is being interviewed at times, and he came on the screen, and our daughter Toby was like, "What's he doing on the TV? Like, what? That guy tried to sell me a duck or something like that.
No, he
tried to pay me $50 to catch a duck,
to catch a seagull.
A seagull."
Yeah, she said that's the guy that was going to pay me $50 if I caught a seagull. And she tried for like most of an afternoon to catch a seagull to get $50 from Max Kenner. So yeah,
we are way off track here, Jeff.
There is no track.
That's right. That's right.
Boats don't go on roads or railroad tracks.
And we did start with talking about a prison boat.
Oh, that was a long ass correction. So now comes the apology. We apologize on behalf of the Bodie Show for a repeated pattern of choosing host submitted and or host family submitted boats as the winner of Boat of the Week. The Kruger was a host submitted boat chosen by Creepy Julie as a winner. The Whitehall Dory host family submitted boat chosen as the Boat of the Week winner. Both of those choices were not fair to the folks who had, in good faith submitted a Boat of the Week, figuring that they were on a level playing field and that there wouldn't be any bias or nepotism. And apparently there is. And so we are now putting in place a
non-family, non-host submittal rule.
Yeah, we have a conflict of interest policy that everybody has to fill out, and it'll be reviewed by our general counsel. So
I want to say that I was behind the submitting of the Dory, and I was all for that because I knew what it would evoke in you. Like, I wasn't trying to make you cry, Jeff. I saw you just like shake your head, but I knew that when you saw that, and I knew that you would talk about it and talk about, what you did in it and what your family did in it and your parents were there and all that. So I that's why I put it in there.
Yeah, well, I'm apologizing for that now.
Okay, thank you.
For you submitting that.
Thank you for apologizing.
We actually have sent.
That happens a lot.
We are sending stickers to the runners-up in both of those cases. So for the Kruger, it was Scott Haig and the Fram ice ship, and then we basically picked.
Wait, I think I sent Scott Haig.
Yeah, I know.
A sticker. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was me thinking, man, we really
should have.
Yeah.
Who was our runner-up last week? Gabe.
Nope.
No.
No.
Captain Dave.
Yeah, Captain David.
Okay.
Yeah, so we sent pictures. I'm sorry, we sent stickers. We sent stickers to Captain David for his runner-up, the Katie Krogan 36. And if you follow us on Instagram at the Bodie Show, you can see pictures of all this stuff. And maybe someday we'll have some more. Oh, that also posts to Facebook. So if you follow the Bodie Show on Facebook, you'll see these pictures as well.
Okay.
So given that we have a new conflict of interest policy, and there will no longer be host submitted or host family and friend submitted boats to Boat of the Week, we have instituted a new segment which we shall call Admiral's Choice.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's nice. That's gonna.
Does it have music?
I just reached for the buttons to play music for Admiral's Choice.
Yeah.
And realized that we don't have that music yet.
Oh.
So I'm gonna put this out to Matt Sullivan. Hey Matt, you want some airtime for a little original jig, original ditty? We'll pay you. And we'll pay you in like real cash money, not just stickers, if you want to compose something for the Admiral's Choice.
Okay, Jeff. So what's Admiral's Choice today?
Admiral's Choice today is the Donzi 38.
Oh.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Donzi 38 startup.
There she goes. Yes. That I don't very deep-seated emotion that is inside me that like has to come out. I really like it.
I'm sitting here watching Missy watch that, which is one of my favorite things to do on the water, because she's right. She doesn't have the words, and I'm always asking her, like,
what is it about?
Why are you having that response? That visceral reaction that you're having, that physical reaction I see in you.
We were on the dock last summer during the poker run. There were a couple of the poker run boats docked at Alex Bay, and we were there. I don't remember what we were doing, but we were going.
Oh, we volunteered for the dinosaur barbecue feed.
Okay.
Basically, we serve lunch.
Okay. Oh, that's right. And we were walking down the dock, and there was this hot, big poker run boat, and they were working with the lines, and they were getting ready to pull out. And I was like, "Wait, Jeff, wait. Let's not leave until they start the boat. Let's not, because I wanted to hear that sound from that frickin' hot boat."
Yeah.
They were futzing around, and they didn't do it, and we left, and I was unsatisfied.
The boat driver got in a fight.
Got in a fight with his girlfriend. That's right.
Yeah, and she
on the dock in Alex Bay.
She stomped off the I think it was the Donzi. She stomped off the Donzi and went on the support boat next, which was tied up next door.
That's right.
And like hauled her, tanned bikini popping out all over herself up onto the flybridge and sat down in a huff. And then he went over and his buddies were standing on the Donzi holding the lines, waiting, come on, man.
Turning away, kicking stones.
And they're having a whole fight on the dock. It was a great scene. And you never got to see
But I never got the sound.
I may have a picture in the archives that I took of you leaning against a lamppost. We waited for
a long time.
At least 10 minutes for this little lovers quarrel to resolve so that you could hear that thing fire up. And I was happy to wait because I wanted to see that very, very, mysterious reaction that you have. Like you said, something physical inside you.
And also there's that cigarette boat in the South Bay up on the things that hold it up out of the water. What's that called?
Boat lift.
Yeah, it's on that. And they put it in the water and they very gently put it out. So you hear
yeah.
And then it gets out to the end of the South Bay, and then they let her rip, and it's like,
they're really nice people. They don't just go to the end of the bay. They keep going until they're basically out away from everybody.
Super cool.
And they open it up. And putt is an understatement for that thing. It is a cammed out, straight exhaust, big displacement, twin monster.
Whose boat is that?
I don't know. Maybe they could be our friends.
Maybe.
Yeah. Then they open it up and it sounds great. And you are always you'll spend 15 minutes just watching that whole procession happen. So one of the things that I find really attractive about Donzi's is this response that they elicit in you, which is a response that I find to be attractive as well. So there's just a whole lot going on with this. And nobody really understands how they feel or what's going on. And it's mysterious. And that's great because we've been married for a long time. And if I don't understand what's going on, I think that's a good thing.
And it's not even the speed of the boat. Some people really get off on the fact that they go super fast, right? I've never even been on one that's gone super fast. And I really don't, that's not what, I will go on one if someone wants to take me out on one. If there's anybody out there listening who has one and wants to take me out on it, that would be cool. And then Jeff would have to come along.
Yeah. Well, just so you know, I got this whole plan about how one of these poker runs, Missy's is going to go down the dock in her, her hotness strolling down the dock. And she's going to strike up a conversation because that's what she does with one of the operators of one of these big, beautiful Donzis. And then she's going to get herself invited along for the ride. But I'm going to be lurking around the corner and hiding behind some dock box, and as soon as she steps one foot on the boat, I'll come around hey guys, how's it going? What's going on, Missy? And then you'd be like, oh, this is my husband. And then I'll come along and totally just kind of pour a little cold water on the scene. But I'll get to go for a boat. I'll get to go for a boat ride.
But it's not, anyway, point being, it's not the speed, it's the sound.
Yeah. Okay. Admiral's Choice is the 2004 Donzi 38ZX, which we just heard start up.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to listen to it again, Missy?
What's it called?
What's its name?
It says Daytona.
It's called the Banshee.
Oh.
Here, let's one more little.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's not it.
All right. I want to just ask you to give us a few impressions of the Manhattan by boat.
Well, as I think you mentioned, having Rich Rossmaster as our driver was great because we had no responsibility with regard to driving, and we could just like spend the whole time like checking everything out.
Yeah.
And I don't know as much about New York City as you do, but it was really, really interesting to see it by water. And in particular, when we came around by Pier 57, which looks beautiful from the water, by the way. You know, it was all nicely painted and scripted and all that stuff. And then right next to it was that crazy floating park with like the little white...
So I read a bit about that whole Lower West Side, including Pier 57. So there was a New York State act passed called the Hudson Park Act, which basically set it up so that the Hudson River waterfront of Lower Manhattan would be redeveloped into public open space. And there were all of these municipal piers that had been there for various city and infrastructure purposes, including Pier 57, which was a terminal for ferries at one point, but then I read had been used to store buses for a long time. And
that building?
Yep. The Hudson Park Act said, all right, this is all going to be open space. It's all going to be public space. So Pier 57 is actually part of the Hudson Park, as is Pier A, which we passed and I talked about on the show, and then that the really wild looking
floating park thing.
Yeah, so so I'm blanking on the name of it, but that was donated by an individual to the Hudson Park. So somebody gave the money and the design to have that whole thing built, and it's a park that's made up of these segments. Each segment is it's like a stalk rising out of the water that flares into almost like the top of a champagne glass kind of thing. But It's like an extra long stem, and then those are all connected so that you can walk from one to the other, and they have planters and all sorts of things on them, and they are at different heights, and so you can sort of traverse up and down on these. And it's really remarkable looking. I thought Pier 57, which won a restoration award for the restoration of it, was really cool looking, like all sorts of Art Deco.
Yeah, I agree.
The whole roof of that is it's a green roof and is just open space with like all kinds of spots to go hang out and enjoy yourself.
That's awesome.
There's some James Beard award-winning restaurant in there, so you can get a bite to eat and then go up top. And yeah, I just thought the Hudson Park Act and the Hudson Park was remarkable. I knew that there had been a lot of redevelopment, and I did not know about this, so it was neat to see it by water and then read about it afterward.
Let's see. Also, I did not know that Roosevelt Island existed, so that was interesting to me.
Yep.
Seeing that and the tram thingy. Mm-hmm. The bridges you guys talked about a lot. They were super cool. The graffiti. I know you guys talked about this, but it's just amazing in a city of so many people how few people are on the water. And I guess, I don't know, if you're a New Yorker, you're into New York things, and that doesn't necessarily mean water things, but we, the water people, were way more interested in seeing it by boat. And it was a really cool boat that Julia and Rich...
Yeah, thank you very much, Julia and Rich, for taking us on that.
That boat was so cool.
That adventure, yeah.
And they brought a bunch of snacks and beverages.
Yeah, and a couple salamis. At one point, you were dancing with a salami and my pocket knife, which I brought my Cub Scout pocket knife from, probably 40 years ago.
Yeah. The current was crazy. I did not expect to have to avoid big waves.
Rapids,
around.
the pop-up.
You can't see an ocean for anywhere.
No, the pop-up rapids. Well, the ocean's like pushing a whole tide up in there, and then the Hudson's flowing.
But you can't see it, so you don't know it.
Yeah, the Hudson's flowing down. So New York was originally New Amsterdam, and I see it, like the volume of waterways interconnected all around those islands. If I was a Dutch person coming from Holland and got there and was like, oh, okay, yeah, New Amsterdam. This kind of fits. And I'm going to plug a book called The Oyster that has a great description of New York Harbor from way back in the day. So this book it follows the culinary and like nutrition history of the oyster as something natural that you harvest and then as a crop as well. And apparently New York Harbor was just booming with oysters way back, like all the way up through its original development. And these oysters were the size of like saucers, giant oysters, and they were something that like people who didn't have a lot of money could just they could go collect and eat.
Wow, that's really hard to imagine.
Yeah.
Now.
Right. And there's a project called like the Million or probably 100 Million Oyster Project, which is working to restore the oyster reefs in and around New York Harbor. The water quality's gone up to the point where that's feasible, and now putting oysters in there can actually continue to improve that. One thing that was missing on the boat around Manhattan, we had lots of friends, we had little kids, but we didn't have any dogs.
No, we did not.
And you wanted to chat today about dogs on boats.
You see a lot of dogs on boats around the Thousand Islands. People take their dogs everywhere they go. But you're right. We did not have a dog.
No, we didn't. And that's okay. Though it would have been helpful with the cleanup. There was a decent amount of pirate's booty and a number of crackers that had been schlopped onto the... Anyway, that was no big deal. You want to tell probably my favorite dog on a boat story?
Yeah. Well, we were going on a cruise into the Canadian waters, and we had a bunch of people on our boat.
Yeah.
So we were in Canadian water, and we got pulled over by the Ontario Provincial Police. And I always want to call them the OPP. And Jeff's like, no, you can't do that.
Not to their faces. when you're getting stopped for a safety check by the OPP, the last thing you want to do is start singing that.
Okay. So anyway, so they pull up and, kind of like attached to our boat. And as soon as our boats were right next to each other, our dog Harley jumped out of our boat and into their boat. And they were like, whoa, like, is he aggressive?
We weren't really even thinking about it, because that's just what he did every time we would raft up with somebody.
Every time.
Like, hop out of our boat and somebody else's boat, see what's up. Like, maybe they got some snacks. And this dog Harley was a
junkyard ass dog.
Yeah, he was like really gnarly looking, like sweetest dog, unless he didn't like you, and then that wasn't so good.
Not so much.
Yeah, and sort of pit
bully looking, southern
hound mix, like, just like rah. And so he jumps into their boat and they're like, whoa, is he friendly? And
he immediately slammed himself down on their deck and just went to sleep
in the sun. And they're looking
and they're like, oh, okay.
And they're looking at him like, okay. So they proceeded with the safety check and the this and that, and like checking our registration and our life jackets and all this stuff.
Then they're like, okay, you're good.
You're good. And
you're good.
We started to pull away, and then they were like, what did they say?
We were, we were undoing the lines and everything, and we were about to pull away, and they were like, wait, you forgot your dog. Because Harley was still in their boat. And we were like, oh, right.
He was still sound asleep, and we're pulling away, and he's just like lying on the bottom of the Canadian OPP with the Canadian Coast Guard ride-along boat, just like out cold, like through the whole stop. And we're pulling away. They're like, hey, wait, what are your dog? And we're like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Harley, come on. And wake up. And he like wakes up. He's like, okay. And
I got to get back into your boat now.
He hops back into the boat. We keep going. We used to forget him.
A lot of places.
It's not great.
No.
But it happened.
Yeah.
We'd be like pulling away from visiting friends, and he'd come like running down to the dock because he'd been off doing something on his own or like hanging out with some other dog, and be like, hey, wait. And we'd go back and get him like, oh shit, we forgot him. We didn't forget any of the kids.
We also had little kids. So
yeah, we were busy remembering them and not forgetting them. Yeah. So that dogs on boats. Now we have a pit bull boxer mix and a Chihuahua hound mix, and the Chihuahua hound mix is in charge of everything. And she really likes to sleep under the center console or lie down under the center console while
we're green dog
in our Eastern, our 24-foot Eastern, while we're cruising around.
Whenever we're on plane,
yeah,
she's farting around the boat the rest of the time, but when we start going fast, she goes right under there.
Which is funny because she's not that afraid of the situation. She just likes to be under there. And then
but she won't let Lilo get under there with her.
The 70-pound pit bull boxer mix really wants to get under there too.
And she bites him. She bites her when she tries to get in there.
Doesn't let her under. So dogs on boats.
But wait,
what?
We wouldn't be complete with this topic if we didn't talk about Lucy.
Lucy on boats.
So we had a border collie mix years ago when the kids were babies, and she was afraid of everything. She was afraid. She was very nervous Nelly. And at first, she would come on the boat with us, but she didn't like it. She was afraid. She didn't move around. She just shook and was scared. And then eventually, as we would walk towards the boat in the parking lot, she would just stop and she would just sit there.
Yeah, we go.
And she would not come with us onto the dock because she knew if she came onto the dock, we would throw her in the boat.
We'd go walk into, down to get on the boat, and she'd like want to be with us. She wouldn't want to be left behind. And she'd just sit down and look at us like, oh.
Nope.
And then did we leave her? I think we left her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fine.
Well, she was she wouldn't hurt a fly.
No.
Like she just flitted around TI Park.
Harley went everywhere in the boat with us because one of the first times we tried to go out in the boat without him, we put him in a crate. We put him in a crate in our house.
We had just gotten him.
Yeah, we put him in a crate in our house, and he got out of the crate, bent the wires somehow.
Yeah.
And busted the door open on this 1/8-inch, welded wire metal crate. Got out of it, busted through a screen out onto a second-story roof and jumped off the roof. And so we're like getting in the boat, and we'd left this dog behind, and he shows up.
Comes running down the dock.
On the dock. He's like, hey, guys, what's going on? Oh, we're going out of the boat.
We were trying to go to Rock for the River.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're trying to go see Rock for the River, which was a fundraiser that Jay Nash ran for a long time in the Thousand Islands. Jay Nash, musical director and original Bodie Show music producer, writer, and performer. So, we're like, how'd the dog get out? We took him back. Our neighbor's like, yeah, he barked and was freaking out. And then he like just ran out, took off. And then we put him back in the crate. Oh, it seems like he got out of the crate. Put him back in the crate, made sure it was, he must not have latched it correctly. Crate. No, he had. Busted out of the crate again, busted through another screen because we saw that he had busted through the screen and busted through another screen, jumped off another roof, this time on the side of our neighbors. They saw him bust through the screen like a superhero, land on the roof, look around, and then jump. Like
a big distance. Like, it's amazing
story.
He didn't like break a leg or something.
Yeah. So from then on, Harley went with us in the boat.
He also, he didn't really like the water a lot. Like, he wouldn't by choice get in the water, but when we would go to the beach and stuff, we originally had like a life jacket, and we'd like pick him up and set him in the water, and he'd swim into the beach. That'd be fine.
I like that too, because I'd hang him over the side, and his feet would
start swimming.
His feet would start going in the air, like doing the doggy paddle in the air, and then I'd just lower him in the water, and he'd like motor off.
But one day, you and I were doing one of our favorite things. We just took a boat. I don't even remember which one, and we were
that's a first world statement right there. That's
like,
pretty bougie.
Kind of like hanging.
I don't know which boat it was. That's one of the many.
Kind of like, all right, enough. Kind of like hanging out in this bay, and we brought our lunch, and Harley was with us, and then our plan had been to go paddleboarding, which we like to do, and so we put the paddleboards were in the water, and we got on, and we paddled away, and we got like 20 yards away, and we hear splash, and then we see Harley like swimming towards us.
He's like cruising over.
He's like, where are you guys going?
Climbs up on your paddleboard.
Yeah,
because he loved you the most.
He did love me the most.
Yeah, and then we all went paddleboarding. We were on the Red Dog, the 18-foot Eastern Center Console, and we were in Rusho Bay, which is on the Canadian side of Grindstone Island. There's a narrow little entrance, and then it opens up, and it looks really shallow, and like you might hit the bottom, and there's a lot of weeds and stuff, but it's a beautiful, beautiful place. There's
That's Rusho Bay?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, there are a bunch of loon rafts back there to encourage loon nesting. There are muskrat and beaver houses up the creek that you can paddle, and you can't see any man-made structures when you're in there, which is kind of neat, except for like a couple old busted duck blinds.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with. Yeah. So anyway.
And that thing by the front, like you go past a boathouse or something by the front.
There's a house at the entrance, this narrow entrance to it, and a bunch of shoals around it.
It's really fun back in there.
I have a quick Lucy story. I used to coach.
This is probably why she's afraid of boats, actually. Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
I used to coach rowing in San Francisco on Lake Merced, which was this little lake out by the zoo, out by the beach. She loved to go with me to practice. She'd get in my truck, and we'd drive down there, and she'd get in the launch and like hang out. She'd hang out with all the kids, and then we'd get in the launch, and kids would take their boat out, and I'd be out driving, and she loved to just sort of be out in that. And she would, this crazy dog, she would get all 4 feet up on the peak of the bow on probably like an 8-inch on a side triangle of metal, and she'd just like stand there perched all 4 feet on this tiny little triangle. And I wasn't trying to throw her in the water, but I had to steer the boat to go to Penn. I'd be like trying to get her like, Lucy, sit down. She's just like, look at me, and she's like, this is awesome. And one day, like, I needed to go left, and so I did, and I went left, and she went right into the water off the bow of the boat, and was really not too psyched about that.
No.
Yeah. Got her back in. Yeah, I don't know that she wasn't psyched about boats after. Lucy was a good dog. I like talking about dogs we used to have because there was a lot of good memories. Yo, listeners, you may have noticed if you follow us on Instagram at The Bodie Show that I posted some art, which is a cartoon of the Bodie Show logo come to life. So the Bodie Show logo is the boat farmer. So he's a farmer driving a boat that is also a tractor boat, and it's modeled after the safety sign that you see in rural areas where there are tractors, which let you know that there's a tractor with a farmer driving it on the road, and you got to watch out and slow down. Anyhow, I connected with April A.P. Davis, aka Pinky Tunes, on Instagram, and then she opened, just because I was following her art, which I think is really neat. She has worked on SpongeBob. She did Horse Girl and a bunch of animated shorts, just really, really interesting, kind of like that highly stylized, mischievous, darkly funny cartoons. Phineas and Ferb is a little bit of
Well,
her.
that's what Byron said when he saw it.
Yeah,
Is
Phineas
that
and
from
Ferb.
Is that from Phineas and Ferb?
Yeah. I don't think what she does is like Phineas and Ferb, but there are certain elements of it. But
Almost like Ren and Stimpy.
yeah, Ren and Stimpy, like that. Those. That's why it's darkly funny, just
Yeah.
like weird and cool. And
What's Horse Girl?
It's an animated short or collection of shorts that's won some awards. Anyway, I found her because the algorithm said, hey, you probably like horses, and she has a horse account called Ye Hollywood, and she's hilarious. She's a really funny person, but she opened up a commission for sketches. Like, hey, pay me some money. I'll do a sketch for you. So email me at this email address. So I emailed her and she said, okay, what do you want? And I said, well, I'd love to see this come to life. I sent her the Bodhi Show logo, and she's like, okay, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, I just think that the farmer in the boat tractor, like kind of like being like ready to go and coming off the page, and that's what she drew, and it's a really
sure.
cool rendering of the boat farmer coming off the page. So I want you if you're on Instagram or Facebook, I posted that picture, check it out. Follow Pinky Toons. April AP Davis, she's a professional cartoonist. She's involved
But you didn't tell him the best part.
What's the best part?
So she wouldn't accept a commission from you.
No, she would. I paid her.
Yeah, but you bartered with the spoon set.
I tipped her in spoons.
Oh.
And I didn't even mean it as a tip. Like, I tipped her with some cash too. But then I'd gotten into spoon carving, and I just like found that I was sculpting these spoons, and so I decided.
Yeah, he sent her the most beautiful ones that he made. There was a set of 2 that were really, really nice, and that's what you sent to her.
Yeah. So art. Anyway.
Art for art.
Art for art. So also cash for art, because artists
And also cash for art.
artists need to support themselves.
Make a living.
And she's really involved in her union, and we've been sort of chatting about maybe, or at least emailing about maybe talking about AI in the workforce, because that's something I do in my day job, or deal with in my day job. I work in healthcare, and AI will come to healthcare, already has in many ways. And AI is also like, there are a lot of commercial interests trying to roll individual artists and the artist community, and the writers and actors strike last year, I believe it was all about that. Like, it was all about, okay, you want entertainment, entertainment's made by humans, and you can't replace us with high margin AI renderings of everything. Give her a follow, Pinky Toons or Ye Hollywood. If you like cartoons, Pinky Toons. If you like ridiculous horse humor, like she posted this picture of herself gassing her truck up while towing her horse trailer from somewhere to somewhere. And she's got a really wonderful, weird, but cool appearance. Very punk. April, if like you don't identify as punk, please forgive me. But in the off chance you're listening to this,
We'll retract it next week.
But she said, parents, just so you know, your kids are following a horse account on Instagram that's run by somebody who looks like they sell pre-smoked cigarettes to teenagers in the high school parking lot. I thought the pre-smoked cigarette line was just freaking hilarious. Anyway, that's that. But I wanted to bring this up because we're finding that it's really fun to support art. So the original Bodhi Show logo was designed by PJ. What did I trade PJ for the logo?
Chainsaw gas?
No.
Slabs of wood?
Yes, that I milled with my friend Scott Higgs on his chainsaw mill, and I traded time on the mill for
Chainsaw gas.
ethanol-free 91 octane from the Thousand Islands, because people in really, really boaty places, they'll sell you ethanol-free gasoline so that it does not go bad in your tanks as fast. And that stuff's real good for chainsaws. So
Jeff is very into wood and wood chopping and chainsaws and shit. He collects this special gas for the chainsaws so that he has it so that he can fill up his chainsaws with it. And
it's boat gas, basically.
okay. And we were on our way home from somewhere and we ran out of gas. And our options looked bleak. Like, we didn't know where we were going to go. And Jeff was like, oh, shit. I can put the ethanol-free gas in there, and that'll get us to where we need to go. But he was so butthurt about the fact that he had to use his special gas to get us out of that jam.
I was running 91 ethanol down from the North Country. I had to take my trade goods and put it into my car to get us home because we'd run out of gas at like age 49. And
It was me, full disclosure. I think wasn't I driving and not paying attention, and we just like freaking ran out of gas, which I do.
We were having a good time talking and not paying attention. So, but sometimes running out of gas is fun. We just like, you accept it and then you have a good story, which included in this case putting my trade goods into the car. So we traded dried black walnut slabs, which came from a log that I got from Gabe, who has submitted one of last week's Boat of the Weeks.
Yep.
Because he had a tree taken down and he saved this black walnut, and I helped him move it from one house to another, and I got a log in trade for helping him move that, and then I sawed it, milled it, dried it, traded it to PJ for graphic design of the Bodie Show logo, and then so we supported PJ's art. He doesn't want anybody to know that he's a really good graphic design artist, because he likes to do it for fun, not for any any profit. Jay Nash, we commissioned the Bodie Show intro, outro, house remix intro, boat party, and yacht rock.
No. We didn't commission all of that. You said, Jay, we need an intro and an outro. And he did that. And then he just like went bananas and did all these other songs.
Yeah, he kept going. And so supporting a musician. And now we've supported a cartoonist, Pinky Tunes, April A.P. Davis, with a little bit of cash and some spoons. And here's the segue.
She was psyched about the spoons, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was. So, and a segue, we're going to support an author now. Will Sterling has a new book, his first, Fame by Misadventure. So Will Sterling is the producer of the podcast that inspired all of this, Spike's Car Radio. And please go listen to Spike's Car Radio. I love it. It's about cars sometimes, and mostly 3 to 4 men just being goofballs, and in a way that I really just love. Anyway, 2 weeks ago, they plugged their producer Will's first book, and I went and read a bit of it. Did you read any of it?
I did not.
I downloaded it. No, I didn't download it. I bought it, and I went and read a little bit of it, and it's good. It is not my genre, okay? It is about the behind the scenes world of reality TV in Los Angeles.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
It is,
actually.
Yeah, and he's got a long prologue which sets the stage, and there's some really good words in here. He's a good writer, and I like good writing when I read it. I can't describe what makes up good writing. And there's just some really great lines in it, like in the prologue. I won't spoil it for you, but the sort of one of the central themes is that there's a reality star, former child star who kills herself, and there's a line here: if she could have told anyone anything in the suicide note, it would have been that in the end she had wanted to live. I like that turn of phrase. And then talking about this woman as the object of like celebrity focus of like an audience, and that this woman was forever one of two women, one they loved or one they loved to hate. I like that turn of. And I'm going to keep reading the book. I just started it last night. It's on Amazon. Highly recommend you download it or you buy it, because I think it's important for us to recognize that we're headed into summer and everybody wants a good summer read.
Yeah.
Like, especially somebody who's read every Outlander book ever.
Actually, that's not true. I got bored when it got like historical. When they went to France to like actually like try and do something politically. I was like, this is boring. More about what Jamie looks like, please.
Looks, smells. What does Jamie taste like?
Ooh, I don't know.
You're going to find some like bearded Scot in a kilt driving a Donzi and going to watch your head explode. So Will gets dialogue right. And dialogue in a book is hard, but when executed well, I think it adds a lot. So I'm going to read a little bit. Okay, he decided to play along, knowing that arguing wouldn't change anything. After another long silence, he stood up. You're just going to leave? I mean, I'm not going to stay. Fine. She turned away from him again and swept a tear from her other eye. How are you doing that? He asked. Doing what? She flipped her sunglasses down from the top of her head, making exactly one tear come out of each eye at a time. It's not for the cameras, if that's what you're thinking. I mean, it kind of is. He pointed to 3 men with cameras across the street snapping photos of what would no doubt be a trending topic in T-minus 10 minutes. They're right over there. I hadn't noticed, she said. All right. He stuck his hands in his pockets and started to head north up Vermont Avenue. Right. That's a simple exchange. The way that I think it's laid out is just good dialogue.
Yeah, it flows really well.
Yeah, and there was a bunch of dialogue before that I didn't read, which was, I think, more interesting and more racy. and more along the lines of Jamie with his scent and his taste and whatnot. But you're gonna have to, if you want to hear more, you're gonna have to.
Don't forget the kilt.
Don't forget the kilt. If you want more, you're gonna have to go buy Will's book. It's on Amazon. So Will Sterling, everybody. Fame by Misadventure. All right, now it is time for.
Stable and sleek. Check out that vessel, baby, isn't she sweet? It's the boat of the week, the boat of the week. Ooh, how I love me the boat of the week. Da 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 da. Hey, yeah, let's check out the boat of the week.
2 submissions this week, down from the 5 of last week. The 2024 La Mer Modern 11 36-foot long houseboat, currently located in Seattle, Washington, for sale for $369,000. Missy, what do you think?
I'm having a hard time
Here, I'll give you a couple more.
getting it.
There you
Ooh.
go. So, twin 25-horse outboards on
Is
the back.
that all sliding glass all around it?
Yeah, so houseboat
Ooh.
on, looks like 2, maybe 3 big pontoons, 36 feet long, looks to be 8 foot 6 inch wide so that it could go over the road. It looks like IKEA pooped out a houseboat.
Is that the motor on the back right there, Jeff?
These are 2 outboard motors on the back. That's
there's 2
that thing up there is the
What's
air
that?
conditioning unit.
Oh.
Ladder up to the roof deck.
That's the ladder right there?
Yep, ladder up to the roof deck. Iron railing around. Here's some other interior photos. Oh, that's lovely
Indoor-outdoor porch situation?
It is. The entire perimeter of the enclosed living area is surrounded by is all sliding glass doors.
Is that lighting?
Yep, it's got inset LED lighting along the entire upper perimeter of the boat. It has probably a third of the 36-foot long length, so that would be about 12 feet. Looks like a 12 by 12, maybe slightly less than a third. Indoor-outdoor porch situation that has a iron or black metal painted railing with steel cables going in horizontally, as you will often see on modern structures, modern porches. There's a grill.
I wish I could see the
Interior.
the deck a little bit more.
Well, let's keep scrolling through the photos.
Okay.
Interior, again, IKEA pooped a houseboat.
How many does this sleep, do you think?
I don't know. It's really, really neat.
It's really pretty on the inside.
Yeah, super clean.
It looks like a house more than a boat.
Yeah. It's a tiny house on pontoons. That's one way to look at it. And not even like the tiny house where, you got to like fold your toothbrush holder down. And to do that, you have to fold up your TV kind of situation.
Is that the head?
I'm going to guess, yeah.
That looks like a really... Oh.
That's the bedroom. 1 of 2. Okay.
2 bedrooms.
Yep. Looks like it's got 2 double beds at least. I mean, just floor to ceiling sliding glass all around, which is really nice. Yeah, it's got a tiny little bathroom because they're like shooting it from odd angles. Wait, is that even yet another bedroom?
Third bedroom? It doesn't look big enough to have 3 bedrooms.
I mean, it crammed in there. Here, let's go back to the description and we'll read a little bit more about it. Okay, experience true on-the-water living with the Modern 11 houseboat, powered by twin Yamaha 25 horsepower high-thrust outboards. I should just skip all of the motor stuff because like
Nobody cares.
Somebody's looking at this. They don't care about that. I'm going to skip. There's a bunch more motor stuff. I'm just going to skip it. Layout includes 2 staterooms, 1 head, galley, linear bar, salon, and lots of light. A head that's the fancy boat name or for the bathroom on a boat. Stateroom is the boat name for a bedroom. Galley is the boat name for the kitchen. Linear bar, that's not a nautical thing. Salon is the boat name for a living room. Louvered overhead for forward and aft decks. What? I don't understand that. Upper deck terrace with Flexa teak and more. That means it's got like comfy fake teak flooring on the upper deck. So foam-filled composite floats, air conditioning with heat, LED lighting inside and out.
It's nice.
Yeah. Shower sink, electric freshwater flush toilet, heated towel rack. Heated towel rack. I mean, I guess it's Seattle, so like a hot towel in the morning is something
Would be nice.
Yeah. Stainless steel railings, additional upgrades, power package, P-rig for motors, terrace top, 4 square meters. That's pretty big.
My biggest thing with this is it doesn't really look like a boat.
No.
It looks like
if this thing were sitting in the woods somewhere, it would look like a high design modern architect had made, a little bungalows.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And especially with all the glass, like
right.
You don't usually see a boat that's glass sided.
I think when you're in Seattle and you don't get a lot of sunlight, you want as much natural light coming in as you can.
That tracks.
Mm-hmm. So the 2024.
Who submitted this?
Patrick.
Patrick Murphy.
Yeah. Both of these came in to email. So thank you.
For following the email instructions.
Boat of the Week submissions, please email to theboatishow@gmail.com because we were losing track of them in various Instagram DMs, et cetera, et cetera. And also, if you're not on Instagram and DMing us, then this allows you to submit a Boat of the Week as well.
Seattle seems to be well represented in our Boat of the Week submissions.
Yeah. Well, it's got a lot going on boaty-wise. So this is from John. The Alita 1958 Olsen 35 yawl, 35-foot Olsen 35. Asking price $35,000, and it's in Vermont. So here's a little history. A fine example of the classic Olsen 35 yawls. So my understanding of the yawl. So there's a lot of
sailboat. You didn't say that, did you?
Oh yeah, I did not say it's a sailboat. Yawl implies sailboat, not yawl as in. By y'all,
Y-A-W-L. Y'all.
Or how y'all doing. It's y'all, Y-A-W-L. So my understanding of the yawl rig is that it is a Marconi mainsail. So a triangle mainsail, one mast up the middle. It's got a triangle-shaped sail on it with a boom. So the bottom, like the bottom beam that the bottom of the sail attaches to. And then a jib up front, another triangle that sits in front. So like, kind of what everybody thinks a sailboat looks like. So that is a Marconi or a rigged sloop design like that. The mainsail on the jib, that's sloop. But then if you add another mast at the back of the boat, that makes it a yawl. And it's like a little sailboat mast that is about half the size of the main sailboat mast at the back of the boat. And I think that that back there, it allows the boat to go more easily, but I think it helps it track better. I'll have to read about this.
Do they use both sails at the same time, or is it you can put up the little one or the big one?
No, both at the same time. Here's a picture of it sailing. So it's got the main sail, the jib in the front, and then the yawl, the sail in the back. So this is a designed by Einar Olsen and built by the Olsen brothers in Gothenburg, Sweden, as part of a racer cruiser class intended for export to the United States. Built in 1958, hull 12 of a class of 48 boats, Alita was kept by her first owner on Chesapeake Bay for 26 years before moving with her second owner to the coast of Maine. In 1984, her present third owners purchased her in Belfast, Maine, and moved Alita to Lake Champlain, where she has remained since that time, being sailed in the spring, summer, and fall, and carefully stored inside and diligently maintained these last 38 years. A 3-owner boat from 1948. Sounds like she's been taken very well care of. Over the years in her Vermont home waters and boat yards, she has been carefully upgraded, including new ribs. So like ribs of your body, those are what support the planking that makes the outer skin of her hull. New deck, new planking as needed, new floor timbers as needed, new keel timber, new stem, new horn timber, new sails as needed, and receiving annual attention to paint, varnish, and systems each winter. All of that this is a well-maintained boat. And when Jay was on and talked about wooden boats, he talked about the fact that it's like this living organism and you have to take care of it just like you have to take care of your body. Or it falls apart just like if you don't take care of your body, it falls apart. So
I like the name Alita. That's really cute.
It is. 30 years of ownership, age is catching up with the present stewards, and they wish to downsize their wooden boating activities in order to pursue other interests. This is a good way to actually get a boat. If you can find somebody who has loved a boat for a long period of time, consistently, and they're ready to move on, they're kind of looking for a good home and not like a financial exit. And it's their hope that a new generation of sailors will come along and purchase Alita, love her as much as they have, and carry on the mantle of stewardship of this classic lady. Fairly priced and seriously for sale. Happy to entertain any reasonable offers. Alita.
When you said it was submitted by John, is that your Uncle John?
No, he doesn't want me to call him his uncle. Oh, Jesus. He's related to us. He can't submit a Boat of the Week.
Just edit all this out. We don't have to say anything about him being your uncle.
Okay. Yeah. Duh.
We need at least 2.
Yeah. So some good pictures in this listing. Gorgeous wood and...
The interior is beautiful.
Wood and painted white interior. Very classic. Looks like his alcohol stove. So super safe. Exterior, she's got a white hull, a blue boot stripe, which is the boaty name for a stripe of color along the waterline. And then...
What did you call that?
Boot stripe. Yeah, white hull, and then varnished wood along the rub rail, the perimeter of the boat, and a varnished wood deck house with looks like a white, probably inlaid canvas roof on it. Nice green sail covers, tons of electronics, all kinds of stuff. Atomic 30 horsepower inboard gas engine. 400 hours since rebuilt in 97, 98. So like that thing will run forever. Easy to rebuild. Those things, there's a million of them. These are good boaty words. I'm just going to read some boaty words. Ground tackle. That's like what you call your anchoring and stuff. Dewatering equipment. That's your bilge pump. Okay.
Ground tackle. I've never heard that.
Yeah. I think there was like at least
Seems like a lot of work, this boat.
there was a lot in Outlander about Jamie's ground tackle. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but that's part of it. Like you have this beautiful thing and you keep it up. And if you keep it up, it'll take care of you. That's Jay's point about wooden boats. It's not like you get in, turn the key and go. It's more of an involved relationship. Like being married to me.
Yeah.
A lot of upkeep. So we've got Alita and the what do you call it? The Mare blah blah blah. What? The
Big glass.
2024 La Mer, very different. So we have a powered, pooped out by IKEA houseboat, and we have a classic 1958 Olsen 35 yawl sailboat. This is our first sailboat for Boat of the Week. Thank you, John. I had tried and failed to recruit people to submit sailboats for our first ever Sailboat of the Week segment, where we would have only sailboats. I'm fine with just mixing them in. What do you think, Missy?
Well, my gut feeling is I like the houseboat.
Okay.
And mostly that's because I think that I would enjoy being on this houseboat and living on this houseboat and going places in this houseboat more than I would the sailboat.
You've never sailed on anything.
That's because I don't know how to sail.
Well, you didn't know how to do powerboat either.
I do now.
Yeah, so you could learn to sail.
I could learn to sail. That's true.
You've never sailed on anything really bigger than our cat boat, like our little 12-foot
That is correct.
roads, yeah. And you like that mostly because you can sit and read your book. Like
if I'm not getting splashed.
If you ever want to hang out with Missy, all you have to do is give her an opportunity to sit and read her book, and she'll do whatever you want. She'll go along with her.
It's true.
This summer she'll be sitting.
You need a getaway driver? I'm your man.
It's not going to work out. If you're a getaway driver, you can't just be sitting there reading your book.
Well, while they're robbing the bank, I can, and then when they get in, I would pay attention when I had to drive.
Would you? You get really into your books and like you lose yourself in them. Maybe you could set an alarm on your phone.
I never do that.
You do that all the time. You forget. You set alarms.
All right, enough.
All right. Yeah, this is not a marital.
But I know you feel differently about sailboats, so maybe you can tell me what you're thinking about this Boat of the Week situation.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up. Most of my boating as a kid was rowing, but mostly sailing on the Chesapeake Bay. We would charter sailboats. So
right.
To me, it's like a really great way to travel and have adventures, and you see stuff you've never seen before, and you go places you've never been before on sailboat. And
that's the same for any boat.
Is that the same for this houseboat?
You could go places you've never been before on this houseboat.
Not too many.
Why not?
That thing is meant to be repositioned.
What do you mean? Like just drive it from point A to point B?
Yeah, like, okay, I got to move it to this dock over there and that dock over there.
I don't know. Maybe.
No? Yeah, that's that house. This houseboat, I'm going to say, is with two motors and a way to drive it, like it's reasonable to consider that being something you would untie and take out for a cruise around the harbor. You may move it from one part of the harbor to another, or from one harbor to another harbor within the same, marina, from one marina to another marina within roughly the same body of water. You're not gonna go the distance in this thing.
And you're not taking that like in the ocean or on rough water.
No. You're not even gonna take that like this would be a great canal boat.
Yeah, it would.
If you wanted to go up and down a river in this thing, you could travel with it like that. I'm definitely leaning towards the sailboat because while I like the modern houseboat, to me, it's a house on pontoons.
Yeah, it's not extremely imaginative.
No, it's very nice and modern.
Mm-hmm.
Like it pulls all of the like typical sort of commodity modern design elements. Oh, you want, stainless steel cable railings. Oh, you want lots of glass. Oh, you want, stainless steel in your kitchen and, gray fake wood flooring. Again, like IKEA. Like I mean, I love IKEA furniture for being accessible, like decently designed, not that expensive,
right?
Modern, but that's kind of what this is. Like
this is also over $300,000, and the sailboat was what, 35,000?
Yep. But again, sailboat's like an STD from a pro. Doesn't cost that much up front. Got to spend a lot of money keeping the rod at bay. So again, not from personal experience.
If we were retired, we would have enough time to take care of that sailboat.
Yeah. I mean, the upside to a wooden boat is that you don't pay that much up front, and it's like your condo fee. You find somebody who can take good care of it for you, and you pay them, you pay them the money you would pay for a much lower maintenance boat stretched out over time instead of up front.
Do those masts come down?
Yeah.
So theoretically, we could store that sailboat in our barn?
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have to pay anybody to store it for us?
No, we wouldn't. Oh, you're in like acquisition mode.
No, I'm just, wondering, looking at all the angles.
Yeah.
I do think I would have more fun on that houseboat, but I see why you would like the sailboat.
I think you would have more fun on that houseboat because it's basically a dock, and you like to sit and read your book on a dock.
Yeah, I do. Well, I also like to sit on Stephanie's dock with people.
Oh yeah, I mean,
not reading my book.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we got it.
What?
I think we've figured it out.
What have we figured out?
I think boat of the week is the Alita.
Why?
Oh, don't make it hard because you love it so much, and even though I like the IKEA style of this one,
you did point out that there's nothing all that distinctive about it.
That's true.
It's a nice form factor.
Yeah.
I'd live on that thing.
Yeah,
no doubt. I'd love to live on a houseboat. I don't need or want a lot of space, so something that small would be awesome.
Yeah.
Like our apartment in San Francisco, that thing was like barely 800 square feet. Not even, like 600 square feet. It was great.
It was great.
Yeah. This is about that, but it floats. I would live on this. However, like objectively, if I had $369,000 worth of boat money, I don't know that I'd spend it on that.
Yeah, good point.
And if I had $369,000 of boat money and the Alita cost that much, I think I'd have $369,000 worth of fun on the Alita because I'd be going places and I'd be comfortably living in that warm, tiny space.
Could you sail the Alita yourself?
Yep.
You wouldn't need me because I don't know how to sail, remember?
You know, you say you don't know how to sail, but there's like no end to the number of things. You're like, I don't know how to do that. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to learn that. And then you figure it out and you're like, this is awesome. Get out of my way.
I don't have to. All of our kids can sail. You can sail.
Why don't you want to know how to sail?
I don't have to know.
But why don't you want to know?
Because then I'd have to spend time learning it.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, but if we were going to be on that sailboat, I don't want to just be the one that sails it all the time while you read your book or play Catan.
Well, then we shouldn't have a sailboat in our future.
Nah, you're going to learn to sail. You're going to learn to sail. It's going to be like,
under duress.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So you have a long history of, I don't want to do that. That's dumb. And then I somehow get you to do it, and you're like, that's awesome. Why didn't you make me do that sooner? That's how sailing's going to go.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Boat of the week.
The Alita, the 1958 Olsen 35 Y'all.
Y'all
Is your boat of the week.
What happened?
I played the rock and the applause instead of the yacht rock and the applause. Let's take two.
Get your button straight, Jeffrey.
Get my button straight. Okay, that was a pretty good boat of the week, I think. I had fun sitting here talking to you.
Good.
With you. Did you have fun with me?
I did have fun with you, but I want everyone to rest assured that Stephanie will be back next week.
Yeah.
I am not a permanent fill-in. Stephanie,
no. Why not, Missy? What if you don't want to do this permanently?
I think it's better with you and Steph.
Yeah, you like to listen to it.
I do like to listen. I like to say my 2 cents once in a while and, come on in guest spots. But I think you and Steph make the show. I don't think it's...
I agree. We are chocolate and peanut butter. We are peanut butter and jelly. We are, what else? Sonny and Cher. That didn't end well. Not Sonny and Cher. Yeah. No, we're good. We're good. And I really enjoy doing it together with Steph.
Agreed. We miss her this week. We hope she feels better.
Stephanie, I know you're listening to this. Hope you feel better by the time you listen to this when it drops on Wednesday. And I'll be in Sarasota next weekend when we record, and I'm going to try and find something, Bodie, to do and report on from Sarasota, at least the race course.
Yeah.
If not, something in the, I think it's Tampa. It's actually like Tampa Bay. I don't know. Hey, if you are in or familiar with the Sarasota area, I'm going to be there June 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. I've got race stuff going on, but I'm going to have some blocks of time. I would love to meet you and check out your home waters. Reach out. Adios.
And there you have it.
Adios, everybody.
Yo ho ho, that's it for the Bodie Show. Pack the cooler, grab the lines, let's go, go, go. Yo ho ho ho.
Stay Bodie, Jeff.
That's it for the Bodie Show. Stay Bodie, Melissa. I love you. You got to say it.
Oh, I love you.
You were about to be like,
yeah.
You too. And we're out.